Hi, and welcome to this demo of WebLOAD Clouds. WebLOAD Clouds allow you to define, schedule, execute, and analyze load tests. So there are a few ways we can start. Let's start with just creating a simple test. And there are a few ways to create that test. You can create a test simply from a URL, or you can upload a WebLOAD script or a WebLOAD template. Let's just start from a simple URL test. So for URL test, we're going to give it some name. My first test, and we're going to tell which URL we want to test. I'm going to just use my test environment, and here we can define exactly which method to use, and we can add, if it's a post, we can add the details, and we can add some headers, but that's basically the whole test is just defining this single action. The other test allows us to create more complex tests. So the next step after we say what we want to test is what kind of users we want to run. So here we can say how many users in total we want to run. So that would be whatever amount of users we want. And then how much time to ramp up the test. So this is the time it would take us to reach from 0 users to those 240 users. And then how much time we want it to run for the steady test. So this would keep the maximum users for this amount of time. We want to see that the server can handle the load consistently for that amount of time. And then we have a ramp up time is where we reduce the load. We want to see how the server reacts when we reduce the load. So we can, depending on that, we can say how much time we want it to last. And that's basically the load schedule, the configuration of the load. And last, we want to say where we want this test to run. And depending on your installation, you will have different locations. So those are the load generators, and the load generator can be grouped by location. So it can either be a specific server we want to test, or it can be a group. So for example, all my cloud load generators are going to be that. I can say, all right, use all the load accounts, or we can spread it. We can say around 50% of the load on the cloud account and 50% of the load on my local machine. And so for now, I'll just use my local machine just for the demo. And that's it. The test is basically run. We can just run it now. Another thing we can do is we can add recurrence. So with recurrence, we can say run it daily or weekly at a certain day or in time. And then we'll have a test result running in an automation. But for now, let's just run this one test. Okay, so my test has been created, and I'm waiting for it to start running. Okay, so my test is now running, and let's see the details of it. Okay, so this is the main dashboard. It contains information about my session. You see, this is my session, and it contains basic information about it, like the load size, hits per second, page time. I can go ahead here and replace. I can select a different session that I ran before, and see its information. And I can also select more than one session and compare them. And zoom into the data. And we also have different predefined dashboards. Each of them shows different view of the data. So for example, the log data will show information about logs and errors. We have a session view, which shows useful information as the session is running. And we can see transactions. Another thing we can do with the dashboards is we can customize them. We can create our own dashboards, and we can customize the dashboards. So for example, this is a dashboard. I can here add a row. So this would add another row to the dashboard. And on this row, I can add panels. So we can have a graph panel, and there are many different types of panels. So now I have the graph panel. If I want to add another one, I go here to the left, and I can add another panel as I wish. So now we have two panels on the same row. Now to edit a panel, we click here on the pencil or the title, and we click Edit. And now we can customize the panel. So for a graph panel, the most important information is which measurement we want to show. So this is the metrics tab. We can select here the metric. Let's say hits. So hits. So we can see that information. We can add another measurement. Let's say the load size. We can play here with, we can move the load size to a different y-axis, and we can change the color for it. And we can play with other things here, like the way the axis looks. We can add a legend. And we can change, we can make it bars instead of lines and show the points, etc. Once we're happy with it, we can go back to the dashboard. And here we have our new panel. And we can save this dashboard, and I don't want to save this one, but we can save them and share it with other people. Okay, back to the home page. So we've seen how to create a simple test and how to analyze it. There are other types of tests we can create. For example, we can create a test based on a WebLOAD IDE script, and that would be a script test. It has a similar configuration like in a normal test, but also here we select a WebLOAD IDE script. We add a script from here, and we select the test we want to run from the test we have, from the resources we have. I'll just select it, and then we can create a test out of it. And I can add more tests to mix them together. And then everything else is the same. I can just set up which load generators and how many users I want to run. If we don't have the test uploaded, we go to the resources place. This is where we search and upload resources. Those are the files. So here I can see we can have folders and files, and we can upload the resources. So those would be, for a script test, that would be the WLP, WLE, if we have include files or parameterization files. And for a template test, we can upload a TPL test, and then we can create a test out of the template. So those for the more complex tests. Other thing to cover is installation. So installing the cloud is very simple. It's just part of the WebLOAD installation. You just make sure you click it when you install it, and then you start it. You just start the WebLOAD cloud. And the admin pages is where you can add more users. You can group your users under organizations, and here you can define your load generators to say which load generators are available for selection, etc. That's it. Thanks for watching my demo today. Have a great day. Bye bye.